A young man by the name of Ben Songster decided to make a YouTube channel on the 6th of July 2017, where he and his friends would make content surrounding the game The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. If you don't know what that game is, Oblivion is the better Skyrim. You run around doing chores, swinging swords, and even more. Trying to do everything in Oblivion is borderline impossible though, because Bethesda can't code a game for shit, but Ben wanted to do the impossible. He wanted to do everything in the game from start to finish and as fast as possible. He couldn't do it alone though, so he hired a bunch of paid actors, some of his friends, to assist in his project. There needed to be a lot of people on board to speed up the researching process. With this group of friends, the YouTube channel PRC Live was born. There was a very obvious problem with the project however. What would doing everything in the game even encompass? What would a 100% completed save file of Oblivion actually look like? Since there was no definitive answer, Ben searched up on the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, a site that holds nearly all the information you will ever need about Oblivion. On one of these pages a definition was provided. So long as the stats screen was maxed out at 100%, you were good to go. Ultimately, the requirements were as follows. Quest completed 208, Master Skills 21, Fame 198, Places found 367, Living Gates shut 60, Horses owned 7, Houses owned 8, Stores invested in 94, Skill books read 109, Artifacts found 15, Nernroots found 306, Maxed out statistics, Become the highest rank in all factions, Obtaining all greater powers, Journal entries for all looping quests. Yes, that's a lot of shit. All other stats in the game were irrelevant because it could be incremented infinitely. By infinitely, I mean until the maximum integer rolls back to 0. Now that the requirements were written, some rules had to be put in place for fairness. Basically, no cheating, no hacks, no mods, no keyboard, no mouse. Actually, those last two things are allowed. Now with the rules and requirements in place, the work could finally begin. Many months were spent researching the many wiki pages explaining every nook and cranny about the game. Everything from quests to NPCs to items and spells. Doing everything on its own was difficult enough. If you do a quest too early, you can stop with your progress on another. Because this was a speedrun, these tasks would need to be done quickly without issues. The huge kicker is this. The speedrun had to be a single segment. Once the timer starts, it can't stop for any reason. This is called RTA or real-time attack. Official Oblivion speedruns remove load times using IGT or in-game time, which wasn't used for this speedrun. That means if your grandma trips down the stairs in the middle of a run, or you just stubbed your toe, you have to deal with that while the timer goes on. This isn't just any typical speedrun. This speedrun was potentially going to take days. If Ben and his crew didn't know any better, this speedrun could even take weeks to finish. And the worst part, if something goes wrong and the game can't be beaten, they would need to start all over again. After some steady planning, the speedrun could finally be performed for the first time. Theoretically, everything clicked, and so long as the game didn't completely bug out, a victory was surely in the bag. Welcome to the first ever 100% Oblivion speedrun. This is V1.
Oh, what the fuck? I don't have a weapon.
What?
There we go.
Stab him in the dick.
This is the general route for the speedrun. First you beat the tutorial, then go to the Imperial City Market District and dupe certain items. After that, do all the Mage's Guild recommendations, which gives you access to certain spells, skill books, items, and the Arcane University. The Arcane University is the rope that ties everything together, as you are able to enchant armor, increase skills, and create custom spells that take advantage of game mechanics. By making a bunch of enchanted jewelry, you can sell them a piece at a time to build a fuck ton of gold. Although this part takes a while. Using this gold, we move on to the investing circuit where you go to each shop across Cyrodiil and make an investment. The Mage's Guild continues on afterwards, followed by the first half of the main questline. With all the required spells and items, the map is canvassed, revealing each location and Oblivion Gate, which also have to be closed. Using these discovered locations, the nerd route can be quickly reached. Remember that throughout the entire run, spells are spammed over and over to increase their respective skills. The second half of the main questline is finished, and we say goodbye to Sean Bean. While we wait for the Imperial Dragon Armor to finish after 2 in-game weeks, speedrun continues to the Fighters Guild. The arena is next on the agenda. With the Grey Prince disposed of, it's time for the side quests. Some are more infamous than others and you'll need to tread lightly. The Dark Brotherhood gives us our first looping quest once completed, and we move on to the Thieves Guild questline. As the new Grey Fox, Grand Champion, Listener and Head of the Fighters and Mages Guilds, the Daedric Shrines need our attention also. After hunting for greater powers, we move on to the biggest RNG of the entire run, random skill books. By this point, all of our skills still haven't fully leveled up yet, as we are still looking for these books, so the next few hours, we abuse skill trainers into giving us more lessons and keep on farming the remaining skills. Finally, the Imperial Dragon armor should be done by now. Upon collection, the timer stops. You saw that correctly. The end time was 79 hours, 17 minutes and 32 seconds, achieved on 25th of July 2017. An 80-hour live stream showcasing the utter commitment of Ben and Co.
What's completed? Woo! Who did it? That's 100% Oblivion, first time ever.
0.01%.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Now it should be
Okay.
You may be wondering what is required for the speedrun to work. Basically, all you'll need is a few hundred pages worth of information. That's no joke. Most of the materials are as follows. One of the crew members not playing the game reads out instructions to the player. Go here and do this thing, and while you're here, collect this book on top of your shelf while sneaking behind an old lady who probably has dementia, as well as a guard dog who will bite you if you go near it. Then grab a soul gem to duplicate later for stat buffs at the Arcane University. Yeah, there's a lot happening at once that the crew needs to keep together. Another crew member not playing the game has a checklist that confirms that the correct book has been collected in the 100 and something books in the game, as well as any quests that have been completed. If this isn't done correctly, good job. That means you'll spend hundreds of hours grinding for a book you already had, but didn't mark off and didn't know you had, and you already found the book you really needed 24 hours ago. This is the cliff notes of what the materials are and why they are absolutely pivotal in a speedrun this complex. This complexity is one of the main reasons why the speedrun became quite a success. Many viewers flocked to the PLC Live livestream and amassed 1.4k followers over the entire duration. As I said before, this speedrun is far from usual. The only reason this run was even possible was being able to alternate between players, and also that the game cooperated, which was a bonus. No severe backtracking was needed. There was an extremely exclusive record to achieve. Basically, if you had a team of friends willing to fuck their sleep schedules up for a week, you could also compete. But that obviously wasn't going to happen anytime soon. This record was almost certainly going to stand for a long while. The high barrier of entry made it impossible for anyone else to run. With all the problems PLC Live faced over the span of 80 hours, it wasn't even an enticing prospect.
Look, there's one right there. What? Then where are we?
Oh, shit.
So this isn't right. So then what's that? This blow, right?
Competition wasn't exactly necessary, however. With the amount of support they achieved, Ben realized that there could be many more gamers out there interested in this development. In an attempt to bring further attention to the new world record 100% Oblivion speedrun, Ben submitted a forum post on the official speedrunning site speedrun.com, trying to tap into the already established speedrunning scene for Oblivion. In the post titled 100% category can't submit, PSC Live announced, "My friends and I recently completed Oblivion 100% on Twitch and have no way to submit the run since there is no category. If anybody would like to verify it, we have a checklist of all the requirements and the video on our Twitch page and soon to be on our YouTube channel." The moderator, Dr. T Chops, responds, "This game doesn't have a percent counter, so there's no meaningful definition of 100%. I also don't ever see anyone else competing, so I don't really see the point of adding a category." This prompted a further reply from PLC Live stating, "The definition of 100% is defined on the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages. The definition of 100% is to max all the finite statistics on the stats screen in-game. I find the reason that no one else is competing to not make sense as a reason not to add it, but do what you want since it is your board, I suppose." Since then, the definition has been removed. After another back and forth post, Dr. T Chops concludes with, "You did a 3-day long Let's Play with a timer with a big group of people that followed a random UESP article, which was basically a slam dunk from the moderators. The response may be incredibly blunt, but it was almost prophesized. If they're the ones who'd have to watch an almost 80-hour speedrun based on rules they had no say on until it was already said and done, I'd be inclined to agree with them. It wouldn't really be worth the workload of implementing the category for potentially a single band of runners who, for all intents and purposes, were its sole creators, enforcing their own category with their own authority. If there was any chance of becoming official, it was essentially laughed away as one massive joke. The miscommunication here came down to a different understanding of the game. The UESP is just that, unofficial. It isn't affiliated with Oblivion or Bethesda. It's just its own wiki for cool info. Existing speedrunners had no reason to use this site, and some of them didn't even know the site existed. It held no jurisdiction over defining 100%. After all, there were technically tasks and items that were omitted that could have been included in the 100% speedrun, such as collecting all types of keys, beating all unique enemies, and more. One speedrunner even made this argument: is it really 100% if you're not searching through every single box, chest, and container in the game? Obviously flawed argument. You didn't cross every pixel drawn on the screen, so you missed some content, yo. It's ridiculous. But the point is, nobody had a general consensus for 100% despite the UESP saying there is. It was a huge blow for building an authentic 100% speedrun, but since the rules and conditions were already made, Ben decided to double down and proclaim his new record as legitimate by separating it from the official Oblivion speedrun community and turning it into its own thing. Unfortunately, as quickly as the project rose to prominence, it died down just as fast. For the rest of 2017, 2018, and 2019, PLC Live uploaded a total of 0 videos to the YouTube channel. Why was that? As Ben puts it, the break was because I went to college after that. I definitely wanted to keep doing stuff, but the original goal of PLC Live was to make a group streaming channel with my friends, but obviously life immediately derailed that idea. I also didn't realize we'd get like 1.4k followers on our first stream ever, so we had no follow-up content. Without a proper strategy in place, PLC Live couldn't take advantage of the initial exposure, and the project was eventually forgotten. 2020 finally rolled around, with the obvious side effect that everyone was staying at home a lot more than usual. This was a good time for Ben to rediscover the PLC Live channel and make some more content. He was keen on using updated knowledge and strategies from the Oblivion speedrunning scene and applying it into the 100% speedrun. There was plenty of opportunities to improve the world record he set 3 years back with the help of his friends. Some of those friends offered their assistance once again to work hard on the next version of the speedrun, V2.